What if you could summon rain with just your thoughts? Long ago, in a small village surrounded by fields of maize and millet, there lived a girl named Zuri. Her village was known for its lush greenery and abundant harvests. But one year, everything changed. The rains stopped coming. Day after day, the sun burned hotter and the ground cracked under its heat. The once clear river was reduced to a muddy trickle, and the crops wilted in the fields. The villagers tried everything: rain dances, prayers, and offerings, but the sky remained stubbornly blue. Zuri was just 12 years old, but she felt the weight of the drought. She watched her little brother cry from thirst and saw her mother ration the last bit of water. The village elders held a meeting under the ancient baobab tree, and Chief Kofi spoke with a heavy heart. "If the rains do not return," he said, "our people will have to leave the land our ancestors gave us." Zuri sat at the edge of the crowd, her heart pounding. She didn't want to leave the only home she had ever known. She didn't want to see her family suffer. But what could a young girl like her do? She felt powerless. That night, as Zuri lay under the stars, she whispered to herself, "If only I could bring the rain." She closed her eyes and made a wish, not knowing that her life was about to change forever. As Zuri slept, she had the strangest dream. She found herself in a misty forest where the trees sparkled like diamonds and the air smelled of rain. An old woman with silver hair and eyes like the moon appeared before her. "Zuri," the woman said, her voice soft but powerful, "you have been chosen." "Chosen for what?" Zuri asked, confused. "To control the rain," the woman replied. "Your heart is pure, and your people are in need. But be warned, great power comes with great responsibility. If you use it for selfish reasons, the rain will turn against you." Zuri didn't know what to say. "Why me?" she finally asked. The woman smiled. "Because you care more about others than yourself. The rain listens to the heart, and your heart is kind." She handed Zuri a small blue stone. "This will guide you. Use it wisely." When Zuri woke up, she found the blue stone clutched in her hand. She gasped. It hadn't been a dream after all. But could she really control the rain? She decided to try. She went to the edge of the village, where the land was driest, and held the stone tightly. She thought about the rains, about how the drops sounded on the roof and how they smelled when they touched the earth. To her amazement, dark clouds began to gather. The wind picked up, and then, plop, the first raindrop fell, followed by many more. Zuri laughed in disbelief as the dry ground soaked up the water like a thirsty sponge. But as she walked back to the village, she remembered the old woman's warning: power must be used wisely. When Zuri returned to the village, she found the people staring at the sky in shock. The clouds rolled above, and rain poured down, soaking the earth. Children ran outside, splashing in the puddles, while farmers rushed to the fields to plant seeds they had nearly given up on. "It's a miracle," shouted one elder. "Who prayed to the gods for this?" asked another. Zuri stayed quiet. She didn't know how to explain what had happened. She clutched the blue stone tightly in her hand, its warmth a reminder of the old woman's words. Deep inside, she felt a mix of joy and fear. That evening, the villagers celebrated. They sang songs of gratitude, danced around fires, and shared what little food they had left. Zuri sat quietly beside her mother, who noticed her silence. "Zuri, are you all right?" her mother asked. "I'm fine," Zuri replied, but she wasn't sure she could tell anyone about her new ability. Would they believe her? Would they ask her to bring rain again and again? Would they blame her if she couldn't? The weight of her secret pressed on her shoulders. The next day, Chief Kofi called a meeting under the baobab tree. "The rains have returned, but we must not waste this blessing," he said. "Let us work together to rebuild our fields and store food for the future." Zuri watched as the villagers cheered, feeling a flicker of pride. She had helped her people, but as she looked at the clear sky, a question gnawed at her. What if the rain doesn't come next time? Days turned into weeks, and Zuri's gift became both a blessing and a burden. Whenever the skies were clear for too long, people began to whisper, "Why hasn't it rained again?" Did the gods change their minds? Zuri felt their stares as she walked through the village. Her secret was safe, but it weighed on her. She found herself returning to the edge of the village, holding the blue stone and calling for rain. Each time, the clouds obeyed her, but each time, she felt more drained. One afternoon, an elder named Babatunde stopped her. "Zuri, you've been quiet lately. Is something troubling you?" "No, Babatunde," Zuri lied. But Babatunde had sharp eyes. He leaned closer and said, "Sometimes keeping secrets can be harder than sharing them." Zuri wanted to tell him everything, but fear held her back. She worried the villagers would expect her to solve every problem. That night, she dreamed of the old woman again. This time, the woman's face was stern. "Zuri, you are using your gift too often," she warned. "The rain must come naturally, or the balance will break." "But my people need me," Zuri protested. "They need the rain, but they will also need to learn to endure and work together. You cannot solve everything," the woman said, before disappearing into the mist. When Zuri woke up, she stared at the blue stone. She understood the warning, but could she really stop helping her people? One evening, a group of strangers arrived in the village. They were merchants from faraway lands, dressed in fine robes and carrying goods to trade. Among them was a man named Malik, who had heard rumors about the rains in the village. Malik approached Chief Kofi. "I have heard of your miraculous rains," he said. "Tell me, who is responsible?" "No one," the chief replied. "The rains are a blessing from the gods." But Malik didn't believe him. He spent days asking questions, watching the villagers and observing Zuri. One day, he followed her to the edge of the village and saw her holding the blue stone. "So, it's you," Malik said, startling Zuri. Zuri gasped and tried to hide the stone. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said. "Don't worry, child. Your secret is safe with me, Malik said with a sly smile. In fact, I can help you. Imagine how much you could do if you used your power for more than just this little village. You could bring rain to cities, to kingdoms. You could be rich beyond your wildest dreams. Zuri hesitated. Malik's words were tempting. With more resources, she could help more people. But something about his tone made her uneasy. I can't leave my village, she said firmly. Malik frowned, but didn't press her further. Think about it, he said, before walking away. That night, Zuri couldn't sleep. Malik's words echoed in her mind. Should she stay and help her village, or use her gift to help others far away? Days passed, but Malik's words lingered in Zuri's mind. She couldn't shake the idea that her gift could help more than just her village. What if Malik was right? She thought. Meanwhile, Malik continued to stir trouble. He whispered to the villagers about Zuri, planting seeds of doubt. What if someone among you controls the rain? Shouldn't they use their power to help others too? The villagers, desperate for answers, began to grow suspicious. One day, during a meeting under the baobab tree, an elder stood up. We must find out who is behind these rains, he said. If they can summon rain for us, why not for others? Zuri's heart pounded. She knew it was only a matter of time before they discovered her secret. That evening, Malik approached her again. Have you decided? He asked. No, Zuri said. You're wasting your gift, Malik said, his voice growing impatient. Think of the wealth and power you could have. You could be a hero to thousands, not just a handful of villagers. Zuri looked at the blue stone in her hand. She remembered the old woman's warning. Great power comes with great responsibility. But she also remembered the joy on her people's faces when the rain first returned. I can't leave, she said firmly. Malik's face darkened. If you won't come willingly, then I'll take the stone myself, he said, lunging at her. Zuri screamed and ran. The villagers heard the commotion and came rushing to her aid. Malik, realizing he was outnumbered, fled into the night, but the damage was done. The villagers now knew Zuri's secret. The next morning, Zuri stood before the village. Her secret was out, and the villagers were staring at her with a mix of awe and confusion. Is it true? Chief Kofi asked. Are you the one who brought the rain? Zuri nodded, her voice trembling. Yes, but I didn't mean to hide it. I just wanted to help. The villagers murmured among themselves. Some were grateful, while others were upset. Why didn't you tell us sooner? One man demanded. She's just a child, Babatunde said, stepping forward to defend her. She has carried a heavy burden for us all. Chief Kofi raised his hand for silence. Zuri, you have done a great thing for our village. But now, you must decide how to use your gift. Will you stay and help us, or will you use your power for others, as Malik suggested? Zuri felt the weight of everyone's expectations. She thought about her dream, the old woman's warning, and the love she felt for her village. Finally, she said, "The rain isn't mine to control forever. It belongs to the earth and the sky. If I use it too much, it will stop coming. I'll stay and help my village, but we must also learn to care for ourselves and our land." The villagers nodded in agreement. Chief Kofi smiled. "Wise words for someone so young," he said. In the weeks that followed, Zuri helped the villagers rebuild their fields and store water for the dry season. She only used her gift when absolutely necessary, and she taught the villagers to work together to conserve resources. One evening, as the sun set over the village, Zuri stood under the baobab tree, holding the blue stone. The old woman appeared again in her dreams that night. "You have chosen well," the woman said. "The rain will always be with you. But remember, it is not just about the power to bring water. It is about knowing when to use it." Zuri woke up feeling lighter. She had learned that true strength was not in controlling the rain, but in using her gift wisely and teaching others to care for what they had. The end. What did you learn from this story? Let me know in the comment section. Also check out similar amazing African folktales from my channel.